Good evening and thanks for joining us on the 6:15 primetime newscast in the English language on Canal the International. My name is Gladys Ambodiba. Stay tuned. The judicial system in Cameroon, social security, and energy and water resources were at the center of a plenary sitting at the National Assembly today, with MPs' preoccupation on overcrowded prison and judicial delays. The session was chaired by House Speaker Kavoyegi Jibril that saw the Ministers of Justice and that of Social Security and Water Resources responding to the people's representatives. Cocoa farmers in the southwest region returned to their farms after a break following the ongoing socio-political unrest. They have expressed their determination to boost production in a bid to fight against poverty, royal exodus, and to improve on the living conditions of the local population. And as farmers in the southwest region of Cameroon prepared to return to their farms, we have farmers and traders in Bafoussam in the west region of the country that have expressed a fear of a drastic drop in cultivation and yields in cereal fruit in Cameroon following hikes in fertilizers. The vendors are decrying low sales with few farmers knocking at their doors. Those were our headlines. Stay tuned for development. Good evening. Once again, we have issues concerning the judicial system in Cameroon, social security and energy resources that were at the center of a plenary sitting at the National Assembly this Friday. The session chaired by House Speaker Kavoyegi Jibril saw the Ministers of Justice, that of Social Security and Water and Energy Resources responding to the people's representative, with most of them preoccupied on the overcrowded prisons in Cameroon as well as judicial delays. You have more on that story with Beatrice Gamo from Yaoundé.
The two major preoccupations of Honorable Kaigama Saya to the Minister of Justice was around overcrowding in prisons and judicial delays, majority of whom are those on alternative sentence between 3 months to 2 years of prison terms. He questioned, why can we not modify the particular text fixing application modalities on the alternative sentence in order to decongest a penitentiary? The Minister of State, Minister of Justice and Keeper of the Seals, Laurent Eso, said works in line with that particular text is almost finished. The penitentiary administration in charge of that now counts 4,351 personnel for a prison population of 32,003, a ratio of 8 detainees per guard. International recommendation on the matter is 3 detainees to a guard, a deficit of 6,500 personnel according to international standards. The implementation of the minimum wage rate, the protection of locals in multinational companies, the remuneration in extractive industries and private sectors.
What is the government of Cameroon doing in the local content policy to drive the effective transfer of competence from expatriates to Cameroonians in the extractive industry sector? Responding,
the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Gregoire Wona, comes back to the objective of his ministry: quality social security for all and decent work.
This legal instrument expressly states that investors are required to recruit Cameroonians according to quotas per social professional category. This requirement obviously entails respect not only for skills but also for socio-professional categorization according to the sector, the branch of the activity, which are governed in particular by collective agreements.
Measures taken to step up the performance of thermal power plants in the north and the state of progress of the South-North Interconnected Network Project. Questions from Honorable Marie Damdam to Minister of Water Resources and Energy. Gaston Elundu Esomba delves into explaining government spendings and subventions in line with fuel at 3 billion weekly and 12 billion monthly. The question time was during a plenary sitting this Friday.
And then we come back to the southwest region of Cameroon, where cocoa farmers have returned to their farms after a break following the ongoing socio-political unrest. They have expressed their determination to boost production in a bid to fight against poverty, royal exodus, and to improve on their living conditions. Ines Ondwambala has more on that.
Some 16,000 tons of certified cocoa beans have been produced by cocoa farmers in Cameroon during the 2021-2022 cocoa season. In the southwest, center, and littoral regions of the country, cocoa farmers have distinguished themselves through their production by respecting best agricultural practices applied to the cocoa sector. Agro-Produce Management Services Limited have encouraged certified cocoa farmers by paying their bonuses. Over 7,995 cocoa farmers received a bonus from AMS.
The future is into sustainability. Time is fast pulling all of us to get into sustainable cocoa production. And so we are calling on the attention of the farmers to make sure that whatever good lesson they have learned from us towards sustainability, they should be steadfast.
The sum of 800 million francs CFA is being paid to farmers for supplying about 16,000 tons of certified cocoa beans. The 10th edition of the payment bonuses to cocoa farmers have been saluted by beneficiaries.
As for this year, it will help us a lot because we lack chemicals, and this will help us combine our chemicals.
For education of Pekin, I think Pekin and two, they on the camp holiday. They will help me for say Pekin and they can't fit fine. They go back to school well.
The Agro-Produce Management Services Limited is paying bonuses to its deserving cocoa farmers after the Rainforest Alliance certification cycle.
So this is the first rainforest certificate we are projecting today, and possibly the first in Cameroon. This certificate now helps farmers to get bonus.
We are able to move with at least 10,000 farmers who were, first of all, in analog documentations within our office, and this year is the first year that all of them have been digitalized.
It is worth noting that premium is an additional amount of money that cocoa farmers receive over the normal market price after a successful certification year. EMS accompanies farmers through certification, cocoa purchase, and export of cocoa beans. Over the years, EMS has grown from 400 farmers in 2011 to 14,000 farmers in 2020, paid over 3 billion francs CFA as bonuses to farmers, exported 85,000 tons of cocoa beans, and trained over 14,000 farmers on good agricultural, social, and environmental practices.
And as farmers in the southwest region prepare to return to their farms, we have farmers and traders in Bafoussam in the west region of Cameroon that have rather expressed fears of drastic drop in yields in Cameroon this year as a result of price hikes in fertilizers. The vendors specialize in the sales of the agricultural input decry low sales, with very few farmers knocking at their doors. Dimorin tells us more on that story.
The impact of the price hike in fertilizer prices on cereal cultivation is badly felt in markets across Bafoussam in the West region. The disturbing situation has further scared farmers from such specialized shops. Vendors say they hardly make gains these days. Farmers are complaining a lot. It's just so difficult to have customers. You can spend 3 hours without someone asking you, of products. Let me talk about these products. Glyphosate, 3 months ago, a liter was 2,500 francs CFA. Today, it is 5,000 francs. We really want government to address the problem. The confused and frustrated traders blame African governments for not taking up alternative measures as Russian-Ukraine war advances. So too, the ordinary citizens, including farmers, feel the pain. We're told the price hike in raw material is a major problem, plus high cost of transportation, whether by sea or by air. Farmers have expressed fears of poor harvest this season, since a majority of farmers fail to use fertilizers to cultivate their crops, caused by skyrocketing fertilizer prices. I cultivate maize. For the first time, I'm disturbed by the high cost of fertilizer. It's very expensive. A few months ago, we bought it back at between 15 to 18,000 francs CFA, but today it is sold at 45,000 francs CFA. Farmers are calling on government to come to their rescue by either providing subsidies to smallholder farmers across the country. They also want government to invest in the local production of fertilizers.
And we move back to the southwest region, where the population of Bekomo in the Ndian division of Cameroon has said they are constantly being harassed by security officers who have transformed into revenue collectors in markets. They were complaining at an administrative and security meeting in Bamuso, where the senior divisional officer for Ndian frowned at the local authorities for abandoning their local areas. Ines Ondoambala.
In Ndian division of the southwest region, municipal authorities are residing out of their area of jurisdictions. Civil servants have deserted office. Traditional rulers abandon chiefdom. The situation has given room to the high rate of insecurity in rural areas and the slow functioning of council in Ndian division, where there is no proper follow-up of local developmental projects. The senior divisional officer of Ndian has frowned on local authorities, saying enough is enough, and he has called on his collaborators to sit up as no stone will be left unturned to restore state authority in Ndian division. Gilbert Gibai Baldena was speaking in Bamuso in the Bakassi Peninsula as he chaired an administrative and security coordination meeting.
And I think also all team I'm going to talk to your people, to my people. Also, everything we put in enforcement in order that we come out the situation we are going through here, in order that the normalcy come quickly back. Once more, thank you.
While congratulating forces of law and order for reinforcing security measures to ensure peace, the senior divisional officer of Ndian, Gilbert Gibai Baldena, condemned the constant harassment and extortion of money from the population by defense and security forces. He called for a frank collaboration between the population of Ndian and forces of law and order for the return of peace in the crisis-hit Ndian division of the southwest region.
And inhabitants of Mabanda in the Douala 4 subdivision have decried the state of the roads, which they say hamper their daily activities. They have urged government to step in and bail them from the nightmare as they enter into the wet season. More in the following report.
The environment is swampy and characterized with potholes, mud, and unclean gutters, making the road almost impracticable. We are at the vicinities of Government Bilingual High School Mambanda in Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision. The inhabitants are uncomfortable.
Because you enter mud, water everywhere, then you will be dirty as if you are coming from the farm. When you reach at the market, you will be very ashamed of yourself because you are very dirty.
Look at the whole quarter like Mabanda. All people, when you want to go out, you have to remove your shoes. put hand it in your hand, you work until you reach where there's no more water again. That's where you can work.
The situation is worst during the rainy season. The potholes widen and leave little or no space for pedestrians. According to inhabitants, students suffer most during school periods, especially when it rains and the roads are flooded.
Before they will be coming to school, and then sometimes they will come late, they will remain outside because they will come while they have already locked the gate, they will remain outside because of the wait in their houses that the rain should finish, because all the road is rain. They will wait that the road to drive a bit first before they will come.
Besides the bad roads, the neighborhoods suffer from poor drainage pattern when it rains heavily, increasing chances of waterborne diseases and loss of property. Inhabitants have therefore called on government to rehabilitate the roads to save them from the ordeal.
And we talk education. The 2021-2022 academic year of Le Coccinelle School Complex at the Unity Palace has come to an end. The pupils received their report cards and prizes at a colorful ceremony that was presided at by their matron, Madam First Lady Chantal Obia. The sounds and colors with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamo.
The pupils of the Coccinelle School Complex at the Unity Palace welcomes Matron First Lady Chantal Bia with a bouquet of flowers.
Madame la Présidente et chère maman, le Coccinelle du Palais de l'Unité vous souhaite une chaleureuse bienvenue.
Then the singing of the national anthem of Cameroon.
Land of promise, land of glory, land of let's enjoy a holy song. Land the honor, land devotion, as is enjoyed forevermore.
The welcome song and then address by the head of the school, opening the ambience phase. Songs, recitations, ballet were on program. So too the playing of flutes and dance. Most of the sounds portrays their love for their mother, love for fellow friends, love for fatherland, and commitment as young Cameroonians.
News crisis over. Any money.
Their performance was then publicly read, and like in the past, the success rate 100%. And each of the pupils received a prize either from the hands of their matron, Chantal Bia, the Minister of Basic Education, members of the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, and the other personalities. The First Lady visited the works of the children in their classrooms. Souvenir picture time. Then the goodbye song by the pupils of Le Coccinelle School Complex at the Unity Palace with the song titled School is Finished. Time to go home for holidays.
And that report takes us to the end of the primetime newscast in the English language on Canal the International. The French edition will be yours at 7:50 p.m. with Aimé Kati Mukuri. Up next is Debrief du Sport with Mark Chouamo. I will be yours again on Monday, God's willing. But have a wonderful weekend in the company of programs on Canal the International. Bye-bye.